In the previous demonstration, we created the hatch pattern that you've seen here. In this presentation, we're going to cover how to edit that hatch pattern. The easiest way to edit a hatch pattern is using double-click edit. So I'll go to the screen, I'll simply double-click on the hatch, and that brings up my Hatch Edit dialog box. You'll notice that the Hatch Edit dialog box looks a lot like the Hatch and Gradient dialog box, and most of the things on the dialog box you can edit. For instance, I want to change the hatch pattern, so I'm going to select a different hatch pattern. I'll go to ANSI 32, and I'll say OK. I'll preview that, and notice it shows you what the pattern would look like as if it were changed to the ANSI 32. I'm going to hit Escape to get back to the Hatch Edit dialog box. I'll change the angle to 45, and I'll preview that. And notice that those already angled lines, when it was at 0 degrees, now rotate 45 degrees to become vertical lines. So again, I'm going to hit Escape. What you see in the swatch is what it is at 0 degrees. If you change the angle to 45, it'll change the appearance of what's in the swatch by 45 degrees, to the positive or counterclockwise. I can change the scale by clicking the drop-down box. And many times when you click the drop-down box, it doesn't give you a very large range of numbers to choose from. I can double it, or I can take a quarter of it, but I'll preview it, and notice the pattern changes and gets larger. But if I wanted to change to something else, let's say I wanted to change to 5, I would have to simply type the number 5 and preview that. Now they should become very large. Hit Escape, and I'm going to say OK to apply. Okay, so editing hatch patterns is as simple as that. Double-click, change whether you want to change the pattern, the angle, the scale. Maybe you want to add different pick points. So I go to Add Pick Points, and maybe I want to pick inside the circle. I'll hit Enter, and I'll change the angle back to 0, the scale back to 1.5, and I'll preview. Notice now I've got hatch that runs through the circle on this side. I'm going to say OK. Click on it, and you can see that I've got the hatch pattern, and it runs right through the circle. So you can edit the boundaries also. Now remember that the hatch pattern is associative, meaning that it's all one entity, and if the boundary changes, so will the hatch pattern. I'll use the stretch command to demonstrate this. I'll use stretch, pick a point, I'll pick another point, enter. If I want to stretch up, I go straight up. I'll type in 1 unit, and notice that the hatch pattern changes along with the boundary that changed. Again, this can be seen by when you click on the boundary. In this case it was a polyline. If I grab the grip and made it active, I can change or modify the boundary, and the hatch pattern automatically updates. Hit Escape to clear the grips. If I double click on my hatch pattern, again, what if I want to remove boundaries? And if I select the circle as the object and hit Enter, I'll preview, and notice that it took the hatch back out of that circle. So just a couple more things that you can do when editing hatch. Another thing is hatch is a separate entity and typically should be on a separate layer. So if I hit Escape, click OK to accept that change, click on the hatch pattern, and click the drop down and switch it to the symbols layer. Hit Escape, and now my hatch is on another layer. So there's many things that you can do to edit hatch patterns, kind of touch the surface of the main primary things that you need to know about hatch patterns. The other thing you should know is if I go to Erase, and if I select the circle, erase it, notice the hatch pattern fills in where the circle used to be. But if I erase the outside boundary, go to Erase, select the outside boundary, Enter, the hatch pattern remains where it's at. Now that's nice to know because sometimes you have to draw temporary boundaries to be able to place hatch where you'd like it and have it appear the way that you want it to. So if you have questions about editing hatch, make sure to contact me. Otherwise, this will wrap up the presentation for hatch editing.